Hello and welcome back to the Womanifester podcast. I'm your host, Katie J. Today we're going to be talking about how to attract more abundance into your life. And the source that I'm going to be quoting throughout this episode is Think and Grow Rich, which is a book by Napoleon Hill. He wrote this book after interviewing 25,000 people about what it takes to be successful. Everyone from Andrew Carnegie to Henry Ford and all sorts of other rich white people from the past. In the book, he talks a lot about the rich white men of America. And while I realize this is a very narrow view, he has quite a bit of really valuable information about acquiring wealth that he learned from interviewing both successful and unsuccessful people. This book came out right after the Great Depression, so he's writing to people who are coming out of an economic depression and need a way to acquire finances using literally just what they have inside of themselves, their skills, their talents, their own ingenuity and determination, and their ability to impact their own state of mind. So that's what we're going to be talking about today on the podcast. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to bust a really popular myth about money, that you have to work really, really hard in order to get rich, in order to have wealth, in order to have an abundance of finances in your life. And I don't know what your experience has been with working really, really hard, but in my experience and what I've witnessed throughout my life is that working really, really hard results in more work. You get rewarded with more responsibility at work or wherever your career is. And that's because if you're manifesting in the vibration of hard work, then you're going to keep manifesting more hard work. But we want to manifest, or at least I want to manifest. I can't speak for you. I want to manifest in the vibration of pleasure and enjoying my life and getting to spend time with people that I love, doing things that I love. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life, not working hard. I want my work to work in the background for me. So when I teach manifestation of abundance practices, that's what I'm teaching. If that's not aligned with what you want for your life, then this is not the podcast for you. But if you would prefer to enjoy your life, enjoy your family, spend time with your loved ones, learn new skills, travel the world, go to therapy, pay off all your debt, and live life as the freest version of yourself, literally freedom meaning opportunity to do whatever the fuck you want. Invest your money. Support causes that you love. This is the life that we're manifesting. If you don't want that, like I said, there are so many other podcasts out there. But for those of you who want to manifest an abundant life with grace and ease, that's what we're talking about. That's the vibration that we want to be creating in, not the hustle vibration, because hustle creates more, you guessed it, hustle. When someone asks me if I'm a hard worker, I would prefer to say no, because it's not my goal to work harder. It's my goal to work smarter. And that's something that I would always share with my manager, the college students that I managed at the summer camp. I'm like, work smarter, not harder. How can we make these systems work easier? Be less clunky, because you know what? A lot of people who set up the businesses that you worked for did not grow up with technology in the way that you did. So you as a millennial, and I don't know who's listening to this, but if you're a millennial like myself, and you understand technology, you hold a lot of value to a company, because that means that you think more innovatively than all the people before you. And it's not that they don't have something to contribute, because they do. That's just your unique thing that you can contribute to your team, is that you have that understanding and comfort level with technology. And so that's actually something that I have brought to a lot of the businesses that I worked for in the past, is like, I want to help you guys with creating systems that like make us all work smarter, not harder. And because that, I've left every single job in good standing, right? Every job that I've had, I've left in good standing with my manager saying, you're welcome back at this company. That's the goal. Work smarter, not harder. Be someone who works well at a company. So if this big old myth that riches come from hard work, right? We haven't connected that yet. So this big myth that riches come from hard work. That's what we're going to bust today. Because the truth is, according to Napoleon Hill, that riches begin with a state of mind. And that state of mind is definiteness of purpose, a fixed determination that does not recognize failure. That is what brings you riches, not hard work. So now you're asking, how do you get into the state of mind to attract riches? And by riches, I mean health, I mean wealth, and I mean happiness. I mean it all. It includes it all. That's what I mean by wealth. That's what I mean by riches. That's what I mean by abundance, right? That's the goal. I'm not talking about just having a bunch of money in the bank, because who wants to just have a bunch of money in the bank and just look at it and cannot be able to touch it? You want to be able to take that money and pay off your debt, book those therapy sessions, book that flight to Bali or India or wherever it is that you want to go next. Costa Rica. Ooh, that just made my heart skip thinking about going back to Costa Rica. For those of you who don't know, I'm currently living in Truckee, California. This is my home base, and I'm so excited to spend a winter here. It'll be my first time spending a full winter in the mountains. Everyone's really concerned, but I think I'll be okay. I like layers, and it'll be fine. And I love to ski. So if you're in the area, or if you're coming up to Truckee to ski this winter, hit me up on Instagram at @womanifester. Let's hang out. I'd love to meet you. I've met several people that I've connected with through this podcast in person in the Truckee area. So a lot of them have been really cool connections too. So I would love to connect with you if you're coming through. So let's go back to the original question. How do you get into this state of mind that attracts riches, the health, the wealth, the happiness? Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, shares that Henry Ford's secret was, I want it and I'll have it. That was his state of mind. I want it and I'll have it. Doesn't it kind of remind you of, what is that name of the character in Willy Wonka? The spoiled little brat, right? Like, that's how they depict her. She's like, I want it and I'll have it, Daddy, right? And she's in a little red dress and she's just so spoiled. And she gets whatever she wants, and then she ends up blowing up in the end. Sorry to spoil it for those who haven't seen Willy Wonka. I grew up with Willy Wonka, so he is very close to my heart. But anywho, these planes, man. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I'm pausing to let it go by because it's just ridiculous. They forced me to pause though, so it's good. They forced me to take a few deep breaths instead of just rambling on the podcast. I'll invite you to take a few deep breaths with me. Okay. So we discussed that Ford's secret was, I want it and I'll have it. That was his mindset. And I know you're wondering, well, won't there be failure along the way? Won't I can't just like have a straight arrow there, can I? And you could. You absolutely could. That would be awesome. Some people, I would say maybe most people, well, I don't want to project that onto you guys. Some people experience failure along the way. I've experienced failure. And by failure, I don't mean that I regret any direction that I've taken, any investment that I've taken. I just mean I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I didn't get to that goal that I set. I didn't follow the plan that I set because of a circumstance that I maybe deemed out of my control, but most definitely was. But it didn't seem worth it. There's literally a bird squawking and tapping on the RV right now. This is what it's like to record a podcast in nature, you guys. Literally, we're glamping right now, which is awesome. We love it. This is our preference, actually, to be in nature, in a home that we own, able to work from our laptops. We make it work. And the message that I want to pass along to those who might run into failure along the way, with every failure comes a seed of an equivalent success. That's what Napoleon Hill says. With every failure comes a seed of equivalent success. Most people give up after failure. Most people experience failure and say, oh, this was not the path for me. And that's okay too, to realize that it's not worth it to face that challenge that's ahead with that specific path. Something feels really like the resistance there is real. For example, for a long time, I wanted to study traditional Chinese medicine because I felt really drawn to natural healing practices. And I couldn't explain why. It was just every time I got a massage, I would imagine myself, like I would immediately be transported to like healing people through the power of nature. And some of that was like directly with plant medicine, herbs. But then some of it was also like some of that was just getting people out into nature. Because nature does all of the healing that needs to happen. I just go out there and hold space and make sure that you feel safe in the backcountry. And that's what these backcountry retreats are going to be coming in 2020. Just a little shameless plug for what's coming up for next year. You can follow that account on Instagram at Backcountry Retreat. So I always felt myself being drawn to being a natural healer, and traditional Chinese medicine was actually like right there in Austin. There was a school there. It was a great school. And I was like, wow, I should really take the next step here. I should really go visit the school to see if I want to be there. And I just didn't feel like I belonged there. So I was like, okay, I'll find a different school. So I actually ended up finding one in Santa Cruz that I really liked. I loved the school. I love the school, but the location was just not aligned. Santa Cruz was not in alignment with my vibration. Something felt like vibrationally very wrong about living in Santa Cruz. And I knew that meant that was not the right path for me. So after taking $3,000 worth of prerequisites, I quote unquote failed that plan. I took a different direction and said, I need to be in Truckee. So I'm going to find work here and figure out what's going to be waiting for me here. Something is waiting for me here. The universe wants me to stay here for some reason. So I'm going to stay here. So I got a job at the natural food store, which I love that job. I keep on joking. I'm like, I'm never leaving this job because I think I've spent less than like $100 on natural, organic food each month since working there. Talk about abundance, you guys. Talk about abundance. Like, we are paying similar prices here than we paid in Costa Rica, because there's so much overflow in that system. And if you work for a good company, they'll feed you. And so I'm still drawn to being a healer through natural medicine. That's something that I know that I'm still drawn to, just not in the capacity of traditional Chinese medicine right now. And sure as shit, the universe brought me my golden opportunity, which I'm so excited to announce on this podcast because I haven't really talked about it publicly. But I'm going to be moving starting October 1st to the supplements wellness section of New Moon Natural Foods in Truckee, California. So I'm going to be doing a lot of training between now and probably through November and on. It's going to be ongoing training, which I'm so excited about. In the job description, it's like ongoing trainings. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm getting paid to learn about natural medicine. I'm like freaking out, you guys. See, this is what manifestation is. This is what manifestation is. You follow your intuition straight into the arms of what you were asking for all along. But something that's going to exceed your expectations. So instead of going, $200,000 into debt to go to school, I'm going to get paid to learn about natural medicine. With every failure comes the seed of an equivalent success. I want to quickly tell you guys about a program I'm really excited about. Starting November 3rd, I'm going to be hosting the Abundance Academy. In this 7-week live training program, I'm going to be helping 10 women to upgrade their financial situation. We're going to be going over the mindset of how you can attract more abundance, more money, whatever it is that you need in your life right now related to abundance. I will show you how to get in the mindset to attract it to you like a magnet. These live trainings are going to be hosted in my private Zoom room, but I'll record them all so you'll have lifetime access to this content. I'm only taking 10 women, and a few of the spots are already taken. The rest are currently filling up. Reach out to me on Instagram for more information at @Womanifester. I want to share with you guys my favorite practice for getting into the state of mind that will attract riches. And that's affirmations. On Instagram, I'm going to be gradually sharing some of my favorite abundance affirmations. I also created another podcast episode that's just straight up abundance affirmations, like repeat after me style. So go check that out too. Listen to it on your way to work on your way home, when you're running errands. Repeat those affirmations all the time and watch your reality shift. And in these posts on Instagram that have those affirmations, so if you ever want to just read them, I'm also going to include some tips on delivering the affirmations. And I'll also share, there's so many resources on Instagram that I can share with you guys. So I would love to connect with you on Instagram further at Womanifester. But I'll also share how I would say these affirmations out loud, probably on my stories, and then I'll save it in one of the little bubbles on my profile. So go check that out. So you can use those affirmations, or you can create your own affirmation. And I'm going to walk you through the steps that Napoleon Hill teaches in his Think and Grow Rich book, which I encourage you to go look it up on Amazon if it's something that interests you, and purchase it. If you're thinking about signing up for my Abundance Academy, the group program that I'm launching, you're going to get this book. It's part of the program. So if you're thinking about joining that, hold off on buying it. But otherwise, it's a great resource to have. So here is the 6-step process that Napoleon Hill teaches in Think and Grow Rich about how to create your own abundance affirmation that's unique to you and your story. The first step is to fix in your mind the exact amount you desire. Saying, I want plenty is not enough. It will not work. Exact amount you desire. And I would encourage you to, if you're just listening to this and you're driving, just think about it. But if you're at home and you can grab your journal or a piece of paper, write this down. And feel free to alter it as we go through, because you might go back and change some things based off of the next few steps. But this is I'm just breaking it down for you guys. So number 1, fix your mind on the exact amount you desire. So I want $5,000, $20,000, $100,000, whatever it is, fix your mind on it. Determine exactly what you will give in exchange for what you desire. What services will you render? To the world, to your boss, to new clients? What are you giving in exchange for that abundance? Because there is no reality out there where you can get something for nothing. I'm going to go back to the 6 steps of transmutation of desire and riches. 1, fix your mind on the exact amount you desire. 2, determine exactly what you will give in exchange. And I was saying there is no world where you can get something without first giving it, right? And 3, establish a definite date you intend to possess the money you desire. 4, establish a definite plan for carrying out your desire. Then begin at once, whether or not you feel you are ready. Put your plan into action. Write out a clear and concise statement. So this is the custom affirmation for greater abundance. Write out this clear statement. Include how much money you intend to acquire, what you will do in exchange, name the time limit for the acquisition, describe the plan to accumulate the funds. Read this written statement out loud every morning upon rising and every evening before you go to bed. See, feel, and experience yourself owning it, and believe that you are able to possess it. You must have a burning desire for this plan. That means, if you have a burning desire, that means there's no difficulty in convincing yourself that you will have it. This all comes from Andrew Carnegie, but is in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So my example that I'll give you guys is I plan to acquire $10,000 by October 9th. I will do this by enrolling 10 women into my Abundance Academy. I will find them in my community and I will serve them the best that I can. May this manifest with grace and ease for the good of all involved. I would love to hear your custom affirmation. I'll post about this episode on Instagram @WaManifester, and I'll ask you to share your custom affirmation. I look forward to hearing them. This practice of creating a custom affirmation is just one of the many practices that I teach to my clients and to my students, and I'm so excited to really serve you guys in a way that is more affordable than working with me one-on-one. I realize that's not something that everyone can make that investment, and so I want this to be an option that, with payment plans available, we can impact your life together. I'll hold space for you and introduce you to more exercises and resources and ways that you can shift your money mindset and begin to get into that state of mind of abundance so that you can become a magnet to your desires. Reach out to me on Instagram @WaManifester. I would love to connect with you and know more about your money story, what you plan to manifest, what you'd love to manifest, but maybe need some support with. Reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. Thank you again for stopping by the WaManifester podcast. I'll see you next time. Remember, you can do anything you set your mind to. Thanks for stopping by the WaManifester podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you took a screenshot and shared it to your Instagram story. You can tag me @WaManifester and I'll share it on my story as well.